Hi everyone, welcome back to a brand new video. My name is Rosanna. I'm a content creator, project manager, and healthy productivity fanatic. Hold up. Is that a brand new productivity tool? No, but seriously, all jokes aside, I am super excited to share with you a brand new productivity tool that I've been testing out over the past few weeks. This tool is actually a really good solution to a dilemma that me and my partner have been facing because, as you all know, I am a Notion girly and he is very much an Evernote person. And we've never really been able to figure out how to collaborate or figure out a space that works for the both of us. Obviously, Notion and Evernote are both great individually and they serve very different use cases, but as a couple, it is always nice to kind of have a place where you can store all of your grocery list, your chore plans, your financial plans, your saving plans, maybe your bucket list, your recipe book. There's like a bunch of things these days in the online digital day and era where you kind of want to have a shared online space to save stuff. We've tried collaborating in Notion, but really Notion is not his cup of tea. We've tried collaborating in Evernote, but Evernote is really not my cup of tea. We tried just adding everything in a random Google Drive, trying to use Excel sheets and Word documents. Also wasn't really a great success. And then a couple of weeks ago, xTiles reached out to me with the question whether I would like to test their product. And I was super stoked to see if this tool could actually withstand the test of our relationship. And in today's video, I would like to share my conclusions to also kind of give you a little bit of insight on what xTiles is like. For full transparency, xTiles is sponsoring today's video. They very kindly gifted me access to their pro version of the tool, so everything you're seeing in today's video is a pro version. However, they have a super neat free version as well. So if you feel inspired after this video, feel free to go check out the links in the description box and in the pinned comment down below so you can check xTiles for yourself. So just in case you've never heard of xTiles before, allow me to actually introduce xTiles to you. So xTiles is a wonderful new productivity tool. It is extremely flexible, yet it holds a lot of complicated functionalities like Notion and databases, which are integrated into an interface that feels very easy and smooth to navigate. Something that I immediately noticed is that the layout really feels like a digital bullet journal. I've been a person that always tried to get into bullet journaling, but I never really managed to do it because I'm not sure if this sounds like a familiar problem, but do you know when you get a beautiful new journal, beautiful new book, nothing's written in it yet, and then you make a spelling error and the whole book is ruined and you can basically throw it out of the window because you ruined it on the first page? That's me with every single bullet journal. I don't have the patience and I also don't have the skill to make a pretty bullet journal. However, xTiles is literally the solution because it looks and feels like a bullet journal. It allows you to do much customization, but then at the same time, it is so easy to fix your mistake if you mess up, which is grand for people like me. Then also, it is a visual project management tool, so it very easily allows you to kind of cut down projects into smaller tasks, arrange them in a way that makes sense for your brain, which is always something that I very much love when it comes to productivity tools, is if they allow you to set something up that works for your brain, because not every brain or every person has the same need when it comes to productivity tools. I've already mentioned it before, but it's a common digital space, so it's very easy to collaborate in xTiles, which makes it super handy for this scenario specifically where I collaborate with it with my boyfriend. But I can also see this work in like more corporate environments where you maybe have your team all working in the same xTiles space. And I will show you later a little bit in the product what it looks like, but it's super easy to set up and it's very, very nice to collaborate in multiple spaces because the way that xTiles is set up, it actually keeps your workspaces from being separated and very organized. Something where xTiles definitely fits the bill is digital minimalism. It is one of those apps where they didn't try to add everything in there or made it extremely overwhelming. They really went for kind of like all you need in a productivity tool, but not go overboard with that. It's really hard to explain what I exactly mean by that. So make sure to continue watching this video so you can actually see when I showcase xTiles and how I set it up with my boyfriend. But it's hugely beneficial for onboarding a new productivity tool if it's not too overwhelming. Because it's not too overwhelming, it also has a very small learning curve, meaning that it's super easy to kind of just onboard and start using it without having to watch any tutorials, without having to go through like months of practice before it kind of clicks in your brain. You can just open it and start using it right away. It's that easy. Then something that I really appreciate, I already mentioned it when I kind of made the parallel between a bullet journal, is the flexibility of this tool. So it very much allows you to drag and drop things, to kind of copy and paste things, to rearrange your pages whenever you feel the need to it because your pages kind of kept growing and you decided that you need something different for your today's need compared to yesterday. And I like it when a productivity tool isn't kind kind of like you have to set it up right from the get-go, but it allows you to be flexible and change as you go. Because as a person with a very neurospicy brain, I will probably need something else tomorrow than I need today. Then something else, speaking of neurospicy brains, and something that I latch onto very easily, but I know is very common in productivity tools, something that we all like, it may be a bit more for the girlies, but you'll know what I mean. It is pretty. Like, this tool makes it look aesthetic. I'm just a sucker for anything that I can make it look aesthetic, because that kind of just releases that dopamine in my brain that I need to get going, to need to stay motivated. And this is one of those situations where xTiles just really makes it effortless to make your pages look pretty. With literally a couple of clicks, it already looks inviting and super easy to use. So now that I've yapped a little bit about xTiles and actually all the features and all the things that I really like about the tool, let's actually dive in, and then I'm going to show you how I've been using xTiles for the past few weeks together with my partner to organize a couple of aspects in our life. And with that, I'm going to kind of walk you through all of the features in xTiles and what I think of it and all the things that I really personally loved when testing xTiles for the past couple of weeks. Okay, I just loaded into my xTiles workspace, and as you can immediately see, there is like multiple spaces that you can see here. I've actually unshared my board for the purpose of this video, so I have actually been working with my partner on this, but the thing is, he has his last name and his mail address, and I don't want to dox myself, so I actually unshared the board with my partner so that I can make this video without having to worry about that. But normally it's super easy. If you have a dashboard or if you have a workspace, you can invite members. If you click on it, you can literally just add email addresses to it, and that way you invite them. It's super similar to any other productivity tool that you potentially have used before, so it might seem a bit more familiar. So on the left side, we have your information bar that actually shows you your recent pages, all the pages that you've shared, and your favorites. And then you have personal spaces, and usually it shows in a team space the relationship dashboard because I usually share it. For now, it is down here. I have my personal workspace, my team, and then my relationship dashboard. And this is the part that I'm going to show you today as the use case. As you can immediately see, there's a tab here called templates. I'm going to get to that in a little bit because actually I want to make sure to explain to you how they work and how easy they are to set up. There's also an archived bit, which I really appreciate, so that I don't have to like come out and build my own archive. I can literally archive pages so I don't delete them, but they're still somewhere. And then you can, within a workspace, you can actually have multiple pages. I kind of prompted for a simple setup where for now we just have one kind of booklet or one notebook where we have everything. Obviously, just like any other productivity tool, you can make this as complicated as you want, but if you use xTiles also for your studies and also for like other things and you don't want to have multiple workspaces, you could potentially make notebooks for everything here. In xTiles, those are called projects. So it's kind of up to you how you want to set it up. And this is already something that shows it's easy, but also there's a lot of flexibility here. So you can kind of customize it to your needs. Then if I open up our home, which I called it, this project is just called home because it's mostly about our home and our life together. You can immediately see there's like different tabs, which is kind of just like different pages in your notebook. You can see also here, like kind of above my camera, you see a line of dots and you can kind of see it in between as well. If I open up a brand new page, you can immediately see all the dots. That's why I said it looks and feels like a digital bullet journal. I very much like this layout because it feels familiar to an actual bullet journal, and I think it will fit right in if you're trying to transition from on paper to digital. So we have a couple of different boards, and I'm going to walk you through them and then show you kind of the features that I discovered while making these boards and things that I really, really liked. Something that immediately stood out to me is the ease of to-do lists in this one. So there's actually like a widget that is specifically made for to-dos. So if you add things in here, just like a very simple list, you can immediately assign due dates and all of those things to it, but it doesn't look like a very complicated to-do list. I don't have to think about like a database and labels and all of those things. So it was very easy to kind of onboard my boyfriend, who is not a big fan of all the Notion databases and like the complexity of that. And this for him was super easy. We could just brain dump on here, and then I kind of spent some time making this a little bit prettier. So this is our chores calendar. This is basically all the things that we need to keep on top of for the entire year, from like descaling appliances to cleaning our windows to deep cleaning our kitchen to sorting out our wardrobes, kind of all of these things, because we tend to have a rhythm to this, but it's easier to just write it down so you don't have to think about it. So what we did is I kind of made like little blocks for every month, and then I added all of them in here. As you can see, as soon as something is overdue, it actually turns red, which is very nice because then you can visually quickly see things that you still need to pick up. And one incredible feature that I loved a lot from making this and that I noticed immediately is that at the top here, there was like a little ping that I noticed, like a little notification thingy, and it said tasks. And this shows you all of your tasks, but this goes across your pages in a notebook. So if you have like multiple pages, it will all show up here, which is so incredible because that means that if you do like any planning or like to-do management across your pages, you can keep all of your to-dos separated. So you can have like a separate page for your work and a separate page for it, like your chores in the house. But then if you look at your task list, they will still show up as like a full list. And then obviously all of your tasks have dates to it. So it's sorted by date. And then you can see immediately which ones are overdue. They'll show up at the top, which is always something that I appreciate when a tool shows your things that you're actually already too late for at the top. Super convenient. And it's also very easy to reschedule them or move them. You can just grab it and like drag it to another month, for instance. And you can also just update the due date if you wanted to. So as you can see, we've also kind of have things in here that we were supposed to do, but we actually didn't. So then I can very quickly just reschedule them. And it is like, this is the thing where kind of my needs and my partner's needs come together. For him, it's very important to have a very easy to use interface. Don't have to like figure out databases and structures and labels and everything to simply add a to-do. But I like the fact that it's still smart and it still supports me in like keeping up with a productivity system that thinks for me rather than me having to do all the thinking work, because then why am I using a system for it? And also it allows me to make it look pretty. So this is just like, it motivates me to get these things done and actually look at this board and see what we need to do for that month. Something else that we set up is a bucket list. So this is a very simple bucket list. I try to not make this overcomplicated, but basically I used 3 color codes. So we have yellow, which means that we are actually planning it. It is in the process of organizing this as a thing that is actually going to happen. Then we have blue, that is something that we still want to do that we haven't really picked up. And then green is something that we've actually done. This allows me to very quickly see all the things that we want to do as a couple and things that we've actually already done or are planning to do or have booked. So for instance, this festival, we haven't actually done it, but we already booked the tickets and everything's ready to go. So this way we can also add like a bunch of fun pictures, and it allows us to very quickly see all the things that we want to do for this year or maybe in the future. And we've only been using this for like a couple of weeks, so I can only see this page just building and growing, and that way it kind of not only becomes a bucket list, but it also immediately becomes this kind of like diary or like memory book or scrapbook of all the things that we've done together. So I can also see myself in the future potentially like things that we've actually done, changing the picture to a picture of us where we actually did that thing. And that way it turns into like a bucket list that slowly transitions into a gratitude journal or something like that. So I really, again, I love the flexibility of it. It was super easy to set up. We literally sat down for maybe like half an hour to make this, and then it was there. We didn't need to look at any tutorials, and it immediately looks visually pleasing. Then something else that I've been wanting to do for forever, and that actually turned into a page that was slightly more difficult, and that was to store all of our recipes. And I actually used a template for this, and I'm going to show you how to add a template and how to find it and how to use it. But I used a book template for this, so like a book tracker or a reading tracker, and then I kind of customized it to fit my needs. And I love this feature that you can kind of just take something that is already there, so the basic structure is in, and all you have to do is tailor it to your needs rather than starting with a completely blank page and not knowing where to start. So something that I really like is we like to keep track of the recipes that we've made. Again, we've only been using this for like a couple of weeks, so this is not very elaborate yet. We're definitely going to continue to build on this as we go, but we both love food, we both love cooking, and we've been saying this for months now that we would like to keep our recipes in an online place so that when we're on holiday or something, we can also access that same information. And also, a recipe book is like fun and pretty, but we have HelloFresh, so we have a lot of these like recipes on paper, which are actually kind of annoying to store somewhere, because then you end up with these really big and heavy folders with recipes that feel overwhelming to look through. And this way we can kind of just sort it, and that is very nice. So what we can do is there's like different views on this page of our recipe book. There is a thing for not made. Basically, that's our bucket list for recipes we would like to try. Then we have a couple of favorite ones. Those I specifically saved there because either we really like making them, but they're only available in a certain time of year, or those are like really easy comfort foods that we just love making. So whenever we're like, oh, it's been a busy day, what do we want to have for dinner tonight? And on those days that we don't have HelloFresh, we can kind of just look through this list and grab something. And then there's a category that is made, which basically just includes all of the recipes that we've made over the past few weeks and that we liked enough to save in here. So they're not like necessarily our favorites. Obviously, if we try a recipe and we really don't like it, we're not going to put it on here because there's no reason to store that information. Then there's also a list which is types. So we have like breakfast, lunch, dinner, dessert, and snacks, which again allows us quite easily, if we want to ever get an idea for what should we have for breakfast, what should we have for lunch, what should we have for dinner, to kind of just look through that specific category. Then we have one which is the recipe book, which is my personal favorite because again, I love my visuals. I love things that look pretty, but this allows me to like add a nice picture to it, and that way it immediately looks visually appealing and it's just easy to scroll through and kind of pick the things that look nice. And something that I did is I literally just took screenshots from the HelloFresh recipe. So the recipe is immediately in the card as well with all of the instructions that I need to prepare it. So this, again, it took me like half an hour to set up these recipes to kind of just start working from there. And from now on, we're going to continue adding whenever we have a recipe that we really want to save or we really like, we're just going to add it to our recipe book. And then the page that I kind of used in the beginning of the recipe segment is just the table. So this is very similar to anything for those of you who've worked with Notion before. You can actually do databases and like full tables with all the information and all of those things. And this personally is super nice for me because it kind of, again, finds that middle ground between me as a Notion person and my boyfriend as an Evernote person, because he had all his recipes just dumped in Evernote. So he wants to be able to just quickly dump it. So for him, like the status board is super easy. He can just click on make a new card. There's like nothing that feels too complicated in here. He doesn't even have to fill these. I'm like completely down to fill those. All he has to do is kind of just dump the recipe in here, and then I can like make sure that it stays cleaned up. But with the Notion interface, that for him is like, it doesn't make sense. It feels too overwhelming. There's like too many things going on. And with this interface, it just clicks more in his brain, and that way we kind of like found that middle ground that works for both of us. And then, like I said, I used a template for this one, so I'm quickly going to show you how to find a template. So there's a little button up here that says templates. If you click on it, it immediately opens the template library. I just quickly move my camera so it's like not actually in the way of the template library, but as you can see, there's like a bunch of pre-made templates that are kind of suggested at the top, and then they have all of these categories down here that you can search for. But what I did is I searched for the book tracker. So I'll quickly show you what it looks like. They show you like what the template looks like, what comes with the template, and you can immediately see it has bookshelves, genres, status, and books. And I kind of just customized these tabs, and then I have the book tracker, and I kind of just customized all of the columns that I need for it. But it's very nice to be able to kind of just use this. You can even use it pre-filled if you want to see how it works and if you want to understand it a bit better. But if you say use this template, you can either say create it as a new project, which would like on the home page where you saw like our workspace and then that one single page, it would create a new project over there. Or we can say let's add it to an existing project, and then it adds it within our home space. And then you can see the bookshelf is now added. We have all of these tabs, and you can literally start using it right away. You don't even have to think about it. It has the statuses filled. It has like the whole search list for genres filled. So this makes it incredibly easy for those of you who are not really looking for something that they fully have to customize themselves. And then I would like to show you the final tab that we have, which is our finances, which is kind of a very simple table where we keep track of everything that we need to pay every single month. Because what we kind of do is at the beginning of the month, we just transfer a chunk of money to a separate bank account, and from that specific bank account, we pay all of our bills. That way, we never get surprised by a bill actually getting deducted from our main bank account that we also pay things for in like the supermarket and stuff. And the thing is with that bank account is if ever like a transaction changes or like something goes up or down in price or we change contracts somewhere, it becomes really hard to kind of keep track of it because we technically never look at that bank account. So what we do is we kind of keep track of it in a separate table. We used to do this in Google Drive, but it was a nightmare because Google Excel, I'm not sure if you've ever worked with it, but it's not the best tool, at least in my opinion, because it's not very easy to use. And I just want to have a simple table that allows me to track like whenever I have to pay things, then also what the payment term is, because some things we have to pay weekly, some things we have to pay monthly, some things go automatic, some things we have to keep a little bit more of an eye on, and then how much we pay. And then also we can update these prices for whenever we get like an email about a contract change or a price change. And that way we can see like kind of our recurring cost, how much it is per month, and if we can carry that with the both of us. So again, this is a very simple tracker, and something that I really liked is the fact that we have a date property in here. The fact that there's a transaction date allows us to also view it in a calendar view, which is super easy easy if you want to monitor like when you have to pay stuff and what is coming up. And something that I also noticed is that it doesn't only show our like transactions, but it also shows in this calendar view like when we have to do our chores. So basically this calendar view is just a board of everything we need to do for our household. And that is so nice because this is something that I've been missing in any other productivity tool, is the ability to, from different places in your system, have everything show up in one calendar view. So this was a huge win for me when it came to xTiles, and I was like immediately a fan. And this is going to help me so much, and also kind of together with my boyfriend staying on top of the things that we need to do. So now that you've seen all of the pages that I've used, I would like to kind of show you a little bit on how it's actually set up and how you can use it, because I can imagine that seeing those pre-made pages, you're like, that sounds great, but how easy is it actually to make something? And I would love to show you. So you can either drag a block that you want, and then you can turn it into a simple note, an image, a task, or a table. So let's actually turn this one into a task one. And this is going to be my quick to-do list for today. So I need to record a xTiles video. I need to record a let's play. I need to make dinner. So as you can see, literally I did nothing. All I did was create a simple to-do list. And then what you can do, you can customize this to make it look a little bit cuter. And something that I also really like is that they have like different customization versions. So you can have it so that it sets up like the entire thing in that color, that it's only a small line, that it's actually the banner, or that it actually is a smaller banner. You can say how big it should be. So for a medium-sized task, you can also add a title. My preferred one is actually this, where the title is in the colored part, because to me that makes the title stand out. To do for today. There we go. So this is what I need to do today. And then actually I would like to have an image on here. And as you saw, I navigated to this bar over here. So you can drag if you want, but something that I also really like is the fact that the most common ones are just linked on a sidebar here, which makes it infinitely easier to know the possibilities of the tool and know what you can do with it. If you want to see even more options, you can also click on the plus icon, and you can actually see that they have a whole list of things that you can insert into your pages. I'm not going to walk you through all of them, because I highly encourage you to click the link in the description box or in the pinned comment and just get an xTiles account and try it out for yourself, because my experience is a great starting point, but eventually you're going to have to experience whether xTiles is something that could work for you. So try it out for yourself and just kind of see what is here and what you can add to it. But something that I already really like is the fact that it's so much easier than having to memorize what is there, like in Notion or in Evernote. Some of these things are not even possible. So let me actually also add a quote. Today's inspiration is self-care is sexy. Very important message in case you forgot. And also you can resize these things, so you don't have to keep them as big as they show up initially. And I feel like this one should be yellow. Let's go for that one. Oh, actually, if I give it a color, then it becomes a little bit bigger, so then I can size it up again. And for an image, I would like to use Unsplash, which is super easy and super nice that they have it in here, because that means that you don't always have to go out finding all your own pictures. You can, of course, find your own pictures and upload them, but let's actually find a plant. I always love adding plants to my pages, as you might know from my Notion tours. And then as you can see, we have a nice plant. I can make sure that it's a bit bigger. There we go. I think that looks pretty. And then maybe what else do I want? Maybe I can write a little note, and that note is to reminders. A reminder, something is that Scott's mom called. He needs to call her back. Something else that happened is mail came in. It's on the table. And you might wonder, Ro, why are you writing that down? Well, ADHD brain, I will forget if I don't write it down. As you can see, this is literally how easy it is. You can fully customize this page to your liking. It does take a little bit of time, like with any productivity tool, to kind of figure out what your personal style is, what you prefer. But people have made beautiful dashboards in here. I have only scratched the surface in testing this out for the past couple of weeks. I feel like this has so much potential, and I cannot wait to continue using it in collaboration with my partner, and also kind of see where he takes it and kind of see what his preference is, so we can kind of figure out the best workflow for the two of us together. Something that we already noticed is that ever since using xTiles, our collaborative process of planning household chores, making a bucket list, updating our finances has become so much smoother. I cannot tell you the night and day situation from trying to figure things out in different productivity tools, trying to collaborate in a Google Drive, and then kind of moving to something like xTiles that just allows you that collaborative space that is easy to navigate for the both of us. I'm definitely going to be testing out xTiles a bit more over the coming weeks. So let me know in the comments down below if there's anything that you would like to see in xTiles, because potentially I could make like a later feature of this tool or a short or anything to update you on how we've been using it. I can absolutely encourage you to also go ahead and create an xTiles account just to try it out, because again, like I said, eventually the best way to figure out if a productivity tool works for you is to just by trying it yourself and testing it out and see if it fits your needs. Again, the link is in the description and in the pinned comment down below for you to go sign up. If you do like xTiles and you plan on signing up, I would like to ask you to use my video because it greatly helps this channel and also show xTiles that you guys are interested in this type of content. Also, make sure to check out xTiles website if you're curious about more features, their actual prices, and all of those things, because I think it contains a bit more information on the specifics than I shared in this video, because I tried to keep it a little bit more practical and stay more close to my use case rather than kind of sharing all the generic things that you could already find on their website. Something that I'd like to emphasize again is that I have a paid version of xTiles right now, but the free version is absolutely amazing as well and allows you to do so many things. So there's literally no reason for you not to go out and just check it out and see if it works for you, because there's no need to start paying from the get-go. Obviously, if you like xTiles, it is always very nice to be able to pay for something to get the full suite of features. If you have been using xTiles, I would love to hear your experience with the tool, so feel free to drop in the comments down below. Again, if you're not using xTiles, I would also love to hear from you what your experience was from this video and if you do plan on testing it out, because in general, I kind of would love to have a chat about what your thoughts are on xTiles. So find me in the comments. I'll try to respond as quickly as I can, as I always do. And I think with all of that being said, thank you so much for watching. If you're not subscribed to my channel, this is the perfect opportunity to do so. And also, if you liked this video and it was helpful, please toss it a cheeky like, because it helps the video get to more people, and potentially that way more people can find xTiles. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye, everyone.